In the 22nd month of the war against Nazism, we meet here in this old palace of St. James's, itself not unscarred by the fire of the enemy, in order to proclaim the high purposes and resolves of the lawful constitutional governments of Europe, whose countries have been overrun. And we meet here also to cheer the hopes of free men and free peoples throughout the world, to worship and sustain the tyranny of one abominable creature. Their traditions, their culture, their laws, their institutions, social and political alike, are suppressed by force or undermined by subtle, coldly planned intrigue. Your Excellencies, my lords and gentlemen, I welcome you here in the name not only of His Majesty's government in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, but at their request and by their authority in the name of all the self-governing dominions of the British Empire. I may turn and trample this way and that through tortured Europe. He may spread his course far and wide and carry his curse with him. He may break into Africa or into Asia, but it is with us here in this island fortress that he will have to reckon and settle in the end. We shall strive to resist him by land and sea. We shall be on his track wherever he goes. Our air power will continue to teach the German homeland that war is not all loot and triumph. We shall aid and stir the people of every conquered country to resistance and revolt. We shall break up and derange every effort which Hitler makes to systematize and consolidate his subjugations. He will find no peace, no rest, no halting place, no parley. And if driven to desperate hazards, he attempts the invasion of the British Isles, as well he may. We shall not flinch from the supreme trial with the help of God, of which we must all feel daily conscious. We shall continue steadfast in faith and duty till our task is done. But here also, duly authorized by the Parliament and democracy of Britain, are gathered the servants of the ancient British monarchy and the accredited representatives of the British dominions beyond the seas, of Canada, of Australia, of New Zealand, of South Africa, of the Empire of India, of Burma, and of our colonies in every quarter of the globe. They have drawn their swords in this cause. They will never let them fall till life is gone or victory is won. Here we meet, while from across the Atlantic Ocean the hammers and lathes of the United States signal in a rising hum their message of encouragement and their promise of swift and ever-growing aid. What tragedies, what horrors, what crimes has Hitler and all that Hitler stands for brought upon Europe and the world. The ruins of Warsaw, of Rotterdam, of Belgrade are monuments which will long recall to future generations the outrage of the unopposed air bombing applied with calculated and scientific cruelty to helpless populations. Here in London and throughout the cities of our island, and in Ireland there may also be seen the marks of devastation. They are being repaid, and presently they will be more than repaid. But far worse than these visible injuries is the misery of the conquered people. We see them hounded, terrorized, exploited. Their manhood by the million is forced to work under conditions indistinguishable in many cases from actual slavery. Their goods and chattels are pillaged or filched for worthless money. Their homes, their daily life are pried into and spied upon by the all-pervading system of secret political police, which, having reduced the Germans themselves to abject docility, now stalks the streets and byways of a dozen lands. They are persecuted, prisons of the continent no longer suffice. The concentration camps are overcrowded. Every dawn the firing parties are at their work. Every dawn the German volleys crash. Czechs, Poles, Dutchmen, Norwegians, Serbs and Greeks, Frenchmen, Belgians, Yugoslavs make the final sacrifice for faith and country. It is upon this foundation that Hitler, with his tattered lackey Mussolini at his tail and Admiral Darlan frisking at his side, pretends to build out of hatred, appetite, and racial assertion a new order for Europe. Never did so mocking a fantasy obsess the mind of mortal man. We cannot tell what the course of this fell war will be, as it spreads remorseless through ever wider regions. We know it will be hard. We expect it will be long. We cannot predict or measure its episodes or its tribulations. But one thing is certain. One thing is sure. One thing stands out stark and undeniable, massive and unassailable for all the world to see. It will not be by German hands that the structure of Europe will be rebuilt, or the union of the European family achieved. In every